Hi everybody. This is a message just to Mystery School people. I'm running this on a private YouTube channel that I have so that I can bring forward a message just for you. And so I'm going to be, I want to explain why, the backstory to why I'm so excited to share this new documentary with you and some practical tools for preparation and some of the principles I'm receiving in helping us clarify the new opportunities we have for leadership and how we can use our tools and our practices and our grid and our community to directly participate in the important and incredibly inspiring up-leveling that's happening on our planet right now with our earth and with our human family. So this is, let's see, my intention right now is to give you a few principles to clarify and introduce this new movie that just was published this week. There's a new documentary called Out of the Shadows. It's only been live for 3 days, at least on YouTube live for 3 days, and it has almost, it has 1,328,000 views right now, and that is growing astronomically every day. This is just one message that has come out this week in the efforts to bring forward what has been hidden in the shadows. The movement for disclosure, I first became aware of the movement for disclosure in 2004 by someone I met in California through my feng shui community, and she was really involved with the community there and people who are working behind the scenes toward this movement. And although I had never been exposed to the truths that she revealed to me about what has been happening behind the scenes for sure the last century in concrete terms, what has been happening behind the scenes, although I hadn't been exposed to any of that concrete data, it resonated with truth. I had been working with my inner guidance over the previous 4 years, and it resonated on a deep level. So I've been coming to terms with this information for 15 years now, over 15 years, and it still is disturbing because what this disclosure information reveals is the shadow of our human family. So what I'm so inspired about now is that we have come to a place in our evolution where the shadow is being revealed, and we have the opportunity now to integrate all of it. So what I am excited and inspired about with our exploration this right now together is the opportunity to begin to articulate with each other and for each other this conversation in a way that's personal, that's authentic, that's clear, and that's also empowering. Those things need to happen. We need to feel empowered. We need to understand a larger context for why we would explore shadow and why we would explore truths about what's been happening in this world that are beyond what we maybe ever thought was possible. So this is not about fear. It's about reclaiming our power. And so there's much more to say. This introduction is to invite you to watch this new documentary that came out of the Shadows. It's a follow-up to the Stephen Greer film that many of us, maybe most of us by now, have watched, the film called Unacknowledged, which creates a context for the last 100 years in a very synthesized and very coherent way. This story is important. It doesn't mean that we have to live in the fear of it or the heaviness of it. What it means is that once we have a basic narrative and a basic construct, we are empowered to move forward from a place of claiming this with our own authority and our sovereignty. This is about sovereignty. It's about empowerment. It's about incorporating the shadow of our human family. One of the teachings that came forward in the Pleiadian conversation that many of us watched last year, the conversation with the 90 Pleiadian Collective, was their advice about moving into 5D and moving in our current process of evolution. One of the things we need to do, and that we are doing, is embracing all of the shadow. As we elevate, the higher we get and the more secure we are in 5D consciousness, the more we are able to hold the full spectrum of the truth of who we are, and that is how it's healed. So those of us who have been working with our tools and our practices are in a unique place now to hold space for the healing for our collective, which is what's happening. We are ascending, if you will. We are ascending as a human family, as an entire planet. And what's being revealed right now is the process of crossing the veil. Revelation is another word for crossing the veil of illusion and returning to our higher selves and to the consciousness of oneness, and the ability to trust our inner guidance in order to co-create together. So, just a minute, let me get back to track here. So the timing of this film, along with the other film that many of us have watched, is the opportunity to start creating a narrative for each other and for our friends and family and our larger collective. It's also an opportunity to talk together about the challenges that are held within this narrative and to begin to come to terms ourselves with those pieces that may still be confusing or may not resonate. These are there are lots of distortions in all of the narratives around us right now and all of the information. So it's important not to take any of this. It's important to take all of this as an opportunity to explore and find your own path of truth. Okay, so what I'm inviting you to do is watch this new movie. If you have a chance to watch Unacknowledged first, that's great because it will give you a historical context. And then we're going to, those of us who can, are going to gather on Saturday at noon for a conversation about these principles. And I'm going to be sharing some teachings I've been receiving from Magdalene about how we can work with our own energy systems to integrate and also to elevate what's being revealed so that we can begin to literally take our power back. And by each of us taking our power back, we are taking power back for the collective. There are millions of people, I believe, millions of people engaged in this work now. And this swelling is beyond what we could have imagined. And there is a moment right now where a shift can really happen, a significant quantum shift. So I made a couple notes here. So we're watching this particular film. The reason I'm recommending this film as a foundation for our conversation is because it's very well, it's just really well made. It's personal. There are three voices, three individuals who track through this film, and each of them has firsthand accounts of what they're communicating, and then they're creating from their personal accounts a larger context to document and anchor the narrative that's being exposed right now of what's been hidden from us. And all this is about exposing the ways our power has been taken away so that we can have our power back through the Arcturian maxim of freedom, information, and life for all. Freedom, truth, and life for all. That's the prime directive of the universe. And that's what we have the right to in this world. So this film is excellent because it is covering firsthand accounts of people who are inside different systems of experience and can validate historical narratives from their own experience. It also is a clear synthesis and a clear narrative of key issues and touchstones that are important to understand right now for context. And it also ends with hope. It ends with a very affirmative message of empowerment, which is the key to all of this. So as I was preparing, as soon as I saw this earlier this week, I knew I wanted to share it with all of you, but there's there's an element that needs to be understood, which is how we can now claim the disturbing qualities of the shadow that are being revealed. That's the opportunity for healing, and that's what we can do together and help each other with, because we have the tools through our work to know how to work with shadow. And when we work with the shadow, we work with everything that's held in the collective pain body. Either we work with our own shadow, or we can expand and hold space for the shadow of the healing of the whole. So what I'm inviting you to do, if you feel inspired, is to watch this film. Before you watch the film, know that you may be in the film encountering information that you haven't seen before, and some of it's disturbing, especially if you're not aware of it. There is no fear. That's the big piece, is that this is all being revealed now. And so what I want you to know is I've created an energetic container for us in facilitating this discussion. And so if you encounter ideas that are new, or you encounter ideas that are disturbing, know that you can hold space for those, that you don't need to dive in, and you absolutely don't need to take responsibility for them, that this is part of the work that we are doing as a collective. It's not any individual's one job. If you're sensitive to this information, then you also can stop watching. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed, I'm giving you tools for moving forward, because it's not only this one documentary that is coming forward. There's a lot of information coming forward now. This is what we mean by disclosure, is bringing things out in the open. So at any point, if you feel overwhelmed, just stop, and you can return to it, or you can drop into our conversation without watching the entire movie and bring your questions forward, so that you have the opportunity to integrate this at your own pace. It's also not required. It's for those who feel inspired and curious to step into these new opportunities that are opening up for us. This information has been here always. This goes back to the beginning of, well, at least the last 13,000 years, and probably longer. I don't really know, but I know in my own guidance and affirmation for myself that what is being revealed is part of very old systems of control in this world. And so what's been in the shadows is now being revealed. It's a time of empowerment. Give yourself time to catch up. Don't feel like you have to take it all in at once. It can be overwhelming. Know that this is a process of healing, and it's filled with immense ease and grace. So have discernment. Watch as much as you feel inspired to watch, and then if you're interested, join in for the discussion at noon on Saturday. And I'll record that discussion over Zoom so that you can watch it later if you're not available Saturday. This won't be the only conversation we have, for sure. This is an ongoing dialogue, ongoing exploration. We will be exploring in very exciting ways how to use our tools to contribute to the creation of new systems in our world. It's what we came for, and we're here. So let me just see if there's anything else before we close this. I have been praying to Magdalene for tools about this, and I'll explain more the specific connection with Magdalene and this work. It's really empowering. And so I'm excited to talk to you about that in our discussion on Saturday. So what Magdalene is encouraging all of you to do is, whenever you explore any of these topics, whether it's a video about some of the backstory on COVID-19 or any other disclosure topics, whether brief or long, use your tools first to ask to receive what is helpful to you, and to elevate, to be able to hold the big picture without feeling like you have to drop in or take personal responsibility for any of the density, and give yourself time and patience. As many of us in the school now are going to be diving more into these conversations and discerning ways to talk about these issues and bringing forward some storylines, there will be many opportunities for these conversations. So don't feel like you have to dig in more than you're comfortable with, okay? And so I hope you enjoy the film. I am really inspired to talk about it on Saturday at noon over Zoom. And if you're, if you are super empathic and you're really new to all of this, you can watch the film. I'm going to call in a special circle, a special grid at what time? The film's 1 hour and 1.5. So 10:30. At 10:30, I'm going to call in a special grid on Saturday morning. And people who are super empathic and sensitive to this information and want to watch, but maybe aren't think it might be overwhelming, you can watch during that grid, and then we'll follow up immediately with our discussion to help you integrate. So thanks for being part of the work, and I look forward to more explorations and to the adventures of what's unfolding through all of this. Thanks.